Well, good morning, community. Good morning, Strokes of Virus Worldwide. Welcome to Circle Genius Podcast Survivor Experience. I'm your host, Aaron Alva. I got a real special guest for you today. He went from surviving two strokes to driver and inventing a chair called the AdvenChair. And it's a chair that can pretty much go anywhere. And he's been to Grand Canyon. He's been many Machu Picchu, been many different places, and it's amazing to watch. So I'm gonna bring him online. We have only got 30 minutes together, so I'm gonna bring him online. Um, his name is Geoff Babb, by the way. Hold on, bring him on.
The Stroke of Genius podcast, hosted by brain aneurysm and stroke survivor Aaron Avila, sharing the experiences of survivors and CEOs. This is your destination for inspiration.
Good morning, Geoff.
Good morning, Aaron. Thanks for having me on.
It's a pleasure to have you, my friend. I'm just amazed at what you've done because really a Circle Genius podcast. Really, I want to focus on your genius and the stroke survivors who just don't survive stroke. They thrive. They go on their life. So when I like to break up this podcast into two sections. First, I want to learn to get to know you, what you went through as your stroke, and you've had two of them. And then I want to tell people, share with them how you use stroke to invent amazing item, which is called the AdvenChair. And we'll get that going. But let's start out with your stroke, shall we? I should say strokes, because you have two of them. But Geoff, tell us a little about what was your life like before stroke?
Well, at the time of my stroke, I was 48. I had been married 20 years, and my twin sons had just turned 13. I was a career firefighter, and I worked using my biology degree as a fire ecologist for, at that time, the Bureau of Land Management. I was very active outdoors. I skied, I hiked, I mountain biked. And if you've ever been to Bend, Oregon, that's what gets a lot of people here is access to the outdoors. I was very outdoorsy at the time of my stroke.
Yeah, then you lived in Bend, Oregon. I was telling you I lived in Grants Pass, Oregon, but people in Bend, Oregon. I mean, you guys are outdoor people. That's what you do.
Yeah, that's what brings people here. And what brought us back to Oregon, I'd lived in Florida for quite a while, but I wanted my family and my sons to be out here in the mountains of Central Oregon.
Yeah, there's nothing better. Should we move right when anyway, it's a beautiful state, no doubt. But I'm curious, you worked for Bureau of Land Management right before a stroke. So what were you doing? Did you know what stroke was before you had one?
I knew it was something to do with the brain. I don't think I knew anybody, at least I was aware of, that they had a stroke, so I wasn't sure how it would affect me. But I do remember in the hospital when they realized it was a stroke. And actually, it took 4 days for them to finally decide it was a stroke and not something else. But that was kind of the beginning of my survivor attitude was that I said, oh, wow, it was a stroke. I've never had a stroke before. I don't know how that affects people, but this is what I have, and this is what I'm going to deal with this. I'm going to survive this stroke.
You know that there's something that I want people, the audience, and if you listen to some replay, I want you to realize there's a difference between what I call a stroke survivor and a stroke diver. They get to a tiring point, and meaning there's so many stroke survivors out there, Jeff, that have a stroke and put a period at the end of their life. That's it. They wait. It's over. They wait to die. It's it.
Mhm.
But you went on. But let's talk a little bit. What were you doing when you had your stroke?
I was at home by myself. I actually had an appointment that day for an MRI on my kidney. My doctor was concerned about my blood pressure and thought maybe there was a kidney blockage that was causing it. He didn't think so, but he wanted to scratch that off the list that my problem wasn't kidney blockage. And again, my wife was at work, my kids were at school. I was just home by myself. And I suddenly felt really nauseous and weak, but I still didn't have, what I later learned to be symptoms of a stroke. I just felt really weak and nauseous, and I wasn't supposed to eat anything before the MRI, but I thought, well, in this case, maybe it'll help me feel better. And so I finally decided, well, I'm gonna write off the appointment. I'm gonna eat something. Well, all that did was give me something to throw up.
Yeah, gosh.
Did that throughout the day. Again, nothing that said stroke. That's all. Didn't call my wife. I didn't call 911. I just went back to bed.
Oh my God.
And then, again, because I was by myself, I didn't talk to anybody. And when my wife got home, I finally talked. My speech was slurred. So we said, well, something's wrong here. So we only live about 10 minutes from a hospital. And again, not suspecting stroke. We just went in my car to the hospital, and that's where I stayed for 3 months.
So I'm curious, Jeff. You had your stroke, but what I wanted the audience to know, this was your first of two strokes. Now, when did you have your second stroke?
Well, the first stroke was on November 10th of 2005. The second stroke was November 10th of 2017.
Exact same day.
Exact same day. I think they were probably both in the morning. Um, I don't know what to think of that other than we celebrate it as a day of survival and celebrating life. We don't shy away from it. And I'll explain some more significance to that date in a minute. But yeah, same day, 12 years apart. And that day, I was actually going to work. My life as a field psychologist kind of changed, but I was still working in the office, and I was riding the dial ride bus to work. Ironically, it was the one day there was another person on the bus, and the bus pulled in the hospital to drop him off at his appointment. As we left the hospital, I went into vertigo and the world was spinning around me, and the bus driver pulled me right back into the emergency room. So, fortunately, I was there at the hospital.
Now, people don't know, but you were actually affected on both the right and left side, correct?
Correct. It affected both sides. What I have is called quadriparesis, or weakness in all four limbs. I can stand with help or lean on a grab bar or parallel bars, but my hands are kind of gripped together, so I have limited use of my hands and arms.
This kind of takes perfect time to cut into the other part because you survived two massive strokes. You've got you got some physical deficits, but that didn't stop you. You became the inventor of the AdvenChair. And it's amazing how, if I can, I want to play just a little bit of this video I got, okay? So
Right.
I want to, let me set this up a minute. This right here is what Geoff took. What I want you to realize, Geoff did not put a period at the end of his life. He went on to invent this adventure, and it's amazing. It's taken to some amazing places.
Can
Yes.
I just give a little more background first before you play that?
Yeah, sure.
Well, so after my first stroke, I took on the attitude of reverting back to my high school sports days and thinking of my coach that encouraged us to think about positive images, positive outcomes. And I was going to, at that point, I was determined I would walk out of the hospital. Well, of course, that didn't work. But over the next 12 years, I tried to be outside as much as possible. Unfortunately, I was able to go back to work, but working more in an office than in the field. And so that got me out a lot. And I needed to find a wheelchair that would get me out to the field. And that's what led about 2014 or so to this new chair I kind of devised. It was what I called the Franken chair. We took a regular wheelchair and modified it with handlebars to be pushed. And then finally in 2016, we thought it was ready to do something big, like go to the Grand Canyon. So that first chair we took 2 miles in the canyon, it broke. And, I was unfortunate it broke, but fortunately, we were only 2 miles in, and we were able to get back out. But that was the best thing that could have happened to us because it caused us to create this new chair that you'll see on the video. The picture behind me is from our second trip to the canyon. But again, once I woke up from that second stroke, I said, well, we've been here before. It's not our first rodeo, and let's get back to work. And so over the next year, I was determined to keep the adventure project going. On November 9th of 2018, we had a fundraiser to raise money for the prototype of the adventure. So I just kept on going.
That's pretty amazing. I mean, you could have stopped living. You could have stopped, but you didn't. You didn't let stroke stop you from living. Yes, all of us have endured strokes. and that we endure physical deficits. But stroke is not who we are. Stroke is how we respond.
Right.
And so let's get ready. I'm excited for people to see the chair. Take a look at this.
Oh, what a pretty picture, though. Look at the mountains there.
All right, sorry guys, a little. Sorry, Jeff. It's amazing. So you were at Smith Mountain in that video, but I want people to know. Is that video of you in the Grand Canyon on your YouTube channel?
Yes.
So you guys have got to see him going in the Grand Canyon. And I want to give a shout out to your team because you have a team of people that help you. And I'm just amazed at them too. Your chair is amazing. It's rugged. It's a tank of a bike. It's not your average wheelchair by any means.
It's a wheelchair that thinks it's a mountain bike, is what we say.
What is it? Say,
A wheelchair that thinks it's a mountain bike.
It's amazing. I watched several of your videos, and it's amazing how much abuse a chair will take, and then still keep on going. It's amazing. Over logs, over. I mean, it's amazing. So I will be putting links to your chair and your website in the video description after the show.
Well, a couple of things I think are really important for this show is that, again, I had enough presence of mind as I was, the days after my stroke, it was pretty well sure that I wasn't going back to work, at least in the office setting I had been in. But I remember saying to myself and to my family as well, great, this just gives me time to work on the AdvenChair. And so from there on, I just put my focus on the chair. I wasn't going back to the BLM. I was going to do that. And like I said, as soon as I could, I set the date for that fundraiser to be on. It would have been on November 10th, but the venue wasn't available. And then because that was the first day, November 9th was the day we'd really started advertising. That became our patent date. We now have a patent on the AdvenChair, and this original submission date was November 9th. So that was the day I had 2 strokes, but it's the day I celebrate life, and I'm thankful for my survival and thankful for all my friends. And then you mentioned that I have a great team. I definitely do. And several of those team members, and the engineer in particular, um, I wouldn't have known if I hadn't had my stroke. I think we're probably all in that boat, that we have therapists and doctors and caregivers and other people that we wouldn't have known had we not had our stroke, or whatever episode we had. So my circle of friends is much, much bigger now because of my stroke. Not that I wish on anybody or I'd want to do it again, but I'm grateful for what my stroke has brought to me.
You know, Geoff, honestly, that message right there, that message of hope after stroke, message of life after stroke is really what I'm always saying. Where your focus goes, your energy flows. And you had your stroke, I think, and you shifted your focus. You set your focus on the chair.
Mhm.
And that give you a purpose. And I'm proud of you for really stepping into your purpose. And who knows how many hundreds, maybe thousands of people you help with this.
Well, I think it's really important that I accepted early on that, yeah, a stroke is not much fun, but this is who I am. It's what I do, and yeah, I did take on a purpose. I think, it's important for people who just had strokes to accept. Yes, I've had this. It's not fun, but it's going to be my job, my focus from here on out, to live with this, and yeah, even though life will be hard, it still has a lot of purpose. And I had no idea that I would go into the AdvenChair with such a purpose, but as it went on, it became really obvious that there were so many people that would benefit from the AdvenChair that need to be outside. That's my happy place, to be outside, and people can be outside as well. So going home to the Grand Canyon, we're all excited. We thought we'd really accomplished something. We're proud of that. But it turns out that um, just in the weeks afterwards, we had orders from the chair from outdoor schools in Oregon for fifth and sixth graders to be able to be on the trail. We had two different inquiries, a rental to help a family in Southern California get grandma onto the trail to celebrate her a trail named after her husband, late husband. So we have helped everyone from 7-year-old kids to age 7-year-old grandmas be out with their family, and a couple people in hospice were able to visit their favorite trails one last time, where a woman got to see her family farm one last time. So those are things that are really meaningful to us, and to, again, my team is really focused on not only helping me, but knowing that the chair will help other people down the road.
And I'll definitely, through TV, we'll definitely do it to help you in any way we can. We're to serve you. So if there's any way that we can help the adventure, or you, anything your movement is doing, because we want to highlight, support, and promote anyone that's going to take a stroke and not stop and make it the purpose. That's where you and I are here today, because my brain aneurysm and stroke brought me here with you today. So I'm going to be grateful for that.
Yeah. Well, maybe another time I'll just spend more time on the chair specifically. It's a half an hour story or more in itself, but I'm just glad to be here and
Oh,
tell
that'd be
more story.
that would be great, Jeff. I'd be back in probably a couple months, and we're really get to focus on the chair. I wanted you to hear that he's about 2 strokes, didn't stop living, didn't say it's over, and went on to invent something that really changed people's lives. So Sherry Patterson, real quick, she says she is in Niagara Falls. She wants to give you a Yahoo and bravo and thank you. So
Hi, Jerry. Thank you.
yeah, she's in Niagara Falls in New York. So, Jeff, I think everybody out there, I think if you're still a stroke survivor and you're watching this, I want you to see Jeff. I want you to see me. I want you to see other people that are taking it, not stopping when they have stroke, but actually going on with their life, finding a purpose through stroke. Mine is doing what I'm doing right now. Jeff is doing what he's doing right now. Went on to AdvenChair. I mean, that's genius. Pardon the pun. That's genius, Jeff. So, Jeff, I'm curious. We're down the last few minutes of the show. What advice would you give a new stroke survivor out there? Let's say you're a new stroke survivor. What advice would you tell them?
Well, I think you and I have both kind of been emphasizing it that life's not over, life will be different, but carry on with a purpose to live your life in this new body that you're in, with these new restrictions, but it doesn't mean you can't have a good positive life and make new friends and make an impact on people. So my motto is onward with exclamation point. My project, my company is called the Onward Project, and we just keep moving forward. So I just encourage people to have a positive attitude and know that you can still have a positive, productive life.
Well, that is really, I really want to thank you for being here, Jeff. I really do. And I think you're an inspiration to all of us. I appreciate what you're doing. And I'm looking forward to we'll just spend next time in a few months. We'll do another show and really showcase the AdvenChair and how it's freeing people like myself, which I definitely love the outdoors. And definitely could see how this could transform people's lives. So thank you so much. Thank you for being on the podcast, and I appreciate you being here. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for inviting me.
All right, thank you.
Set me on